Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. We made it through, safe and sound. This episode, we shall be starting 2 new projects, okay? One of them involves flying all around the base. The other one involves building outside of the base, because I now consider this entire jungle area to be finished. Now, of course, that doesn't mean we can't expand it in the future with more pathways to towers with projects and farms inside of them. But as of right now, every building is all neatly tied up, finished with a path, and I consider the entire area to be done. And this means that we can move forward to new things. So I want to show you something that I have been working on in between episodes. Okay, what you're looking at right now is a screenshot of what this area would have roughly looked like when we first came to the jungle desert border of our jungle base. And this is the transformation that I made mid-season to tidy up the edges, make it look a little nicer. And what I've been doing recently is putting in a river. Look at that. That is a total upgrade. It looks so much nicer to have a river between these biomes. Now this is important, my friends, because I'm going to start building in the desert. Behind us we have Corrales' just incredible city base, and we're going to bring it together with ours by starting some new buildings in this desert region between the two of us. And so you can see I have installed this river, and yeah, it was totally worth it. It may have taken a lot of time, but dang, it looks so much better now. So if we are to develop this area between our two bases, me and Corrales are going to be in constant communication about what we're doing. And as you can see, we've already put down some markers for things like roads and rough ideas of where one another is going to be building. And I would first of all like to focus my attention on this right here, the one building that we do have in the area. This stunning build was designed by Pearlescent Moon, and I loved it so much I just wanted to put it here on the Hermitcraft server. And today what we're going to do is expand the area around it with a lush garden. So back here at the storage tower, I have actually prepared some materials, and you know, doing something that is just pure building for the love of building, I'm never too sure how to go about talking about it, right? Like with technical projects and farms, there's a lot to be said. With building, you just got to kind of see it, right? So I'm going to go over there and start building straight away. And the way to get started on a build is to have somewhat of a plan, and then you execute that plan. As you can see here, I've kind of created a layout. And of this layout, the one thing that's actually sort of done here are the paths. They're going to be made out of sandstone, sand, and upside down stairs. This is a great trick, by the way. I was streaming the other day, someone else mentioned it in chat. They were like, oh, that's a brilliant tip, and it's just one of those things you might forget to mention. You've got this extra texture when you flip this one upside down. But what I want to create around this building is a lush garden in the middle of the desert. So I want it to look a little bit kind of artificial. And you will see that come into reality in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about these paths. You can see that they go around the stone markings here. They're going to be replaced with other materials. And I've tried to include a lot of features like being able to walk underneath. And we're also going to have some waterways as well. So I've got a spot over here next to the marble where the water well is going to be. And then we're going to have a waterways going down and across and spilling into more waterways down the bottom, as well as stuff emerging from the side here. Planning it all out in advance is the trick here. And with a lot of it done, we're ready to implement the various materials now. So inside of our garden areas, we're going to use these 2 materials for grass. And then with our walls, I think we're going to go with andesite stone and polished andesite. So with those textures changed over, kind of looks a little bit flat at the moment, and that kind of depends on where you are in the build. We are going to add some more blocks around here to make more sense out of this. But when we head down in this direction, this is where it starts to come to life. The heights between each of the different gardens, that's where the magic is, and the way that these sandstone walls emerge, and then also the walls made out of the andesite and stone blocks. That's where things are going to look real good, in my opinion, which is why there is a lot of height variation in this layout. So bringing in some stone walls is going to add borders to these gardens, and I really feel like this makes a big difference here. And then the details that go in the garden, they'll make another big difference. We're just doing this bit by bit, you know. And the next bit that I want to build up is the waterway. This has to be done right. I've just put in stone bricks for now, very plain. Got to mix in something else, but we're going to have like this big structure, and I do want you to be able to look through it at various points as well as walk through it as well. And like, what a backing, what a backdrop to have for this garden as well. We've got some fantastic views in this area. And speaking of views, this is really starting to develop. I felt like it needed more colour in here, and actually I think the water in this area is adding that. And look at that, it has been developed beautifully. I must say though, it kind of feels like there's not as much grass as I would have liked, or would have expected maybe. But we can change the proportions as we wrap this around the entire building. And it's going to be, you know, quite a long and slow process because there's just so much block placing to do. And I feel like this is very grey and bland, and so here and there we do need to bring a couple more details. And just so you know what's going on at the top here, I put slabs everywhere. And then the water just kind of like flows from spot to spot going across the slabs, and it helps you control it a little bit, but it kind of looks cool from up above as well. Anyway, everything here all going in the right direction. So anyway, I kind of want to add in like details next, lots of them. And I really thought this would work, but it just kind of doesn't. I think the walls just kind of need to remain flat, so maybe I'll find somewhere else to hang these from. And that's probably the key word, right? There's not often many spots to hang it from. Maybe I'll just go with the regular sea lanterns, put them on top of these walls. I just said sea lanterns, didn't I? I mean lanterns, you know. That's not so bad. I'm gonna have to play around though with this. So it is a new day, many hours of playing here have gone by, and some really nice views are starting to emerge. You might notice from down here we've got a couple of trees, and also up there some saplings in flower pots. One of the flaws with this project is that you don't all see it at once, but actually when you walk around this to see what's in each of the gardens, there's just fantastic views in the distance and cool details to pick up on here and there. These gardens are a little bit underwhelming. In each one of these I've just sort of put in a different thing that can grow, right? Like over here we got netherworts. But all in all, it is really working. I love this. It just needs to grow in size. This is one of those things where the bigger it gets, the better it is going to feel. Now this project is obviously going to get bigger. We're going to wrap it all the way around the castle, connect it up with Corrales' area. But as of right now, I just feel like I need a little bit of a break from this one. So I need to bring you up to speed as to what's happening over in the commercial area. Of course, we have my little garden den office over here. And a lot of you really like this. I got tons of amazing fan art for this build and Xisuma the gardener, which I really appreciate. Thanks for sending that in. It is super inspiring. And you know, as Xisuma the gardener at the commercial area, I have not been planting flowers and placing bushes. I've been placing sand of all things. So check this out. During a live stream a couple of weeks ago, we took to the area around beef shops, which has some sandy paths, and I just ripped out all of the grass and replaced it with sand. So over on this side of the whole area we have the moon biome, and biomes is kind of the way I want to go in terms of making this thing feel complete and tying areas together. Look at the view behind me now. This area is the sandy biome. And oh, it just pulls everything here together so well, with exception to those floaty slime blocks. And so now when you walk around this space, this pathway system here with the, I don't know, would you call it a pagoda overhead? It's just really complemented by having sand all around it, and that has absolutely transformed this area. And another spot that I've been working on is not so much a transformation, but just finishing up all of this space here, so it really feels like its own terracotta mesa biome, right? So we ripped out more of the grass again, brought the terracotta clay over to this end, so it kind of ties up against these shops. And that reminds me, this space around this nethery shop isn't actually finished. What I decided to do was to throw in some soul soil and podzol sort of textures instead of having grass just around this little bit. As you can see here, the contrast is rather large. And anyway, this isn't fully finished just yet. You can kind of see the edge of the terracotta here, and we built an entrance for Tango's shop. But anyway, you get the idea. We're just coming in here to tidy up all of the borders by building custom terracotta like this over here. And when you take the time to do that, it really makes this area look so much better. It's actually really similar to what we did over here, right? In fact, I think at some point I'll probably extend that through the back of this area, but I'm thinking I probably need a reason to like build a shop over there or something new. I've got some ideas, but as of right now, I need to run around and wrangle up all the diamonds from my shops. So I kid you not when I say today that we made, like, many stacks of diamonds. Not quite enough for a stack of diamond blocks. Look at this. Oh, absolute madness. Now, we invested a lot of diamonds a while ago in Grian's barge, and you know what? I think the strategy is paying off, because a lot of those diamonds, they came from our stone and smooth stone chests, which have been entirely brought out. So we are keeping our customer base loyal. I think it's now a wise investment to just buy some more, right? This cobble, this stone, I'm just going to buy these. It's not exactly a dent in the wallet today, hey? I can afford these extra boxes and materials. And speaking of boxes, you can see I've been busy with all sorts of projects over here. Loads of junk to organise again. And also speaking of boxes, while I was working in the commercial area, I found a shulker box. And it was from Decked Out. So over here, our Decked Out memento. Yeah, look at this. I got a Decked Out box. I've got a feeling I might find another couple of those while I'm working over in that space. This place, oh, it's so stunning. It's so inspiring. Dang, I love what Keralis is doing here. I am getting distracted though. I want to take you inside the brewer, which is now magically popping into existence. At the top here on both sides, you can see it's more open. I've created a landing room. And from here, we can go down to the bottom area where I've just been adding in walkways to access all of the different things here, including some redstone lamps to show us what ingredients we need. So if the redstone lamps are off, it means that we need more of these. And I am done. We're trying to get those rabbit's feet. Anyway, this has been laid out so that periodically there are scaffolds to take you down to the next level. I want to be able to access everything here, so if I need to like jump around on the redstone, then from this level right here I can kind of get in and amongst everything going on if ever something needs fixing. So that walkway stretches all the way from one side to the other, and again, periodically there are scaffolds to bring us down to yet another platform. So over here, if the redstone lamp is on, it means there's actually capacity for more shulker boxes for the potions, because once this fills up, they'll then end up in this hopper, and that will turn off the torch and the lamp, and so I can walk along here and see what stuff needs stocking up, which is currently absolutely everything. And I guess our lamp system is a little bit inconsistent, because over here an on lamp means that we have plenty of this material. Of course, this is the stockpile for the modifiers down below, so again we have a way to get to each of the chests, and we've also got scaffoldings going down to get to all of the rest, this redstone. And with all of that done, there might not be much left for this project. I think it's all pretty much finished now. I've gone around and put composters on top of hoppers to make this thing as lag friendly as possible, and so, you know, we might not be returning to this place very often now. So all I've got to do now really is just keep this thing stocked up for the other hermits. And one thing I've been doing is tidying away the contents of the shulker boxes. We've got quite the stockpile, but we're still going to need a ridiculous amount more of these shulker boxes to fill up all the potions. And one of the things I want to do with these boxes is transport a gift. Me and Keralis have both been doing AFK sessions at my gold farm and filling this thing to the brim with gold nuggets, or sorry, gold ingots over and over again, and the amount of piglin trades being made here is kind of ridiculous. And as of a result of all that trading, we've got an insane amount of gravel again. But the thing that we are after is actually quartz for Keralis. He needs tons of this stuff, and look, we have stockpiled a crazy amount. And this, my friends, is a whooping 9 shulker boxes of quartz. You know how we do things on Hermitcraft, right? And this will contribute to one of Keralis' new buildings, I hope. Oh, there are tactical tickles in here. I'm just... What did we do? I might have broken something. There's another tactical tickle over here. The endermite is now... Oh no, it's not actually in the minecart. Here they come, look. Tactical tickles. Get out of here. So there we go, 9 shulker boxes of quartz delivered. I will let Keralis know. And I just got to say, this diamond office, wow. I'm wondering, you know, we've accumulated a fair amount of diamonds. Maybe we need a diamond office in my base as well somewhere. Anyways, I mentioned it earlier in this episode that we were going to start and finish a project today. The gardens here is not it, but I have been working away on this thing. In fact, I really enjoyed just taking some time to relax and build, and you have to place down a lot before you show it off again, and it's just been kind of fun to do some relaxed building. So as well as the side that I just showed you, over here things are expanding as well. I plan on doing a live stream where I'll work on this project, and you know what I love doing? Just flying away after I put down a bunch of plans and seeing how it has expanded. I'd say in terms of space and the layout, we're probably close to being about halfway done. And I don't know if I showed you the spruce logs down the front here, but they add an extra bit of colour in, and I really do like that. So that is the gardens project, and now we turn our attention to something that we will start and finish in today's episode, and that is a race around the base. As you've heard me say plenty of times, this place is pretty much finished. And I want to take inspiration from last season, Season 6 of Hermitcraft, where Grian created a flying Elytra course that went through all of the builds in our communal area. Well, as you can see, I'm sort of flying around my towers, and what I envision is putting in some red circles that the player flies through, and that'll involve some really tricky bits like flying through the middle here, and then coming out the other side. Because everything here is now effectively finished, we're going to create a flying race that goes around every part of this base. So I would guesstimate that I've got just under half of this done so far. It hasn't actually really taken a lot of time, but I have spent a lot of time thinking about where each of these loops are going to go. I mean, it's a circle. I don't know why I called it a loop of all things. Let's go through the first set of them. These things are spaced out a fair bit. It can be a little tricky to actually fly through them correctly. However, I'll give myself a pass since I am recording at the same time. When you come to this one, we've got these blocks, which are used on occasion to kind of direct the player around to the next ring. However, what I'm going to do when I advertise this to the other hermits is give them like a photo book showing all of the rings and which ones to do in order. So you'll notice that this one has a black ring on the backside, and you could probably hear it. There goes my doorbell. So the purpose of this is to kind of make it more distinct that that's not the way you go through the ring. So from this one, you would go up here, and then around the corner, around to the tree, and then through the base. And then that's where we see the glazed terracotta again, indicating us to go to the left. And then it'll indicate us to go again to the right. And that's as much as I've built so far. So you can see up ahead that there are more magenta blocks, and you can get a sight of some other rings, but the way I've laid this out, I've kind of deliberately made it so that it shouldn't be confusing at all, even though I'm going to provide the hermits with like a guide of where all of these rings are. Now, one thing you're probably thinking is that these are kind of spaced out and it's not much of a challenge. There isn't really too many tricky turns. This next bit might be a little bit tough. In we go, sharp turn to the right, but then we breeze over here. It's more about just having a novel experience flying around the base, but it is going to be a race. It will be a timed thing as well, and so it gets a little challenging here when you've got to go down and then all the way back up again. Yikes, didn't make that, did I? Now that is going to be the very last place to fly to. Problem is, we've got a couple of trees in the way. And now, my friends, they are gone. However, there's also a ring down here. I decided that we should showcase the road a little bit. This road's fantastic. So now you got to swoop down and then swoop back up over here to the final ring. So up here in the arena, as I keep referring to it, you can see that I've set up a bunch of rings right here. And you can go inside them. From the outside, not so impressive. When you're standing in here, it's kind of cool. Probably because all of these diamond blocks. So in here, we got 4 pages of instructions, which actually includes a link to our, well, not a link, but instructions to go to the Discord. And so inside of here, I have just shared, images of each and every one of these rings all the way through, so the hermits can look at this and really understand the layout of the course. And with this, I think they'll have everything they need to know. However, it says leave your scores on a sign example. Xisuma, 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, I don't know if it takes 2 minutes and 12 seconds. I got no idea. But it will start right now. We are doing a test run, and it's immediately off to a terrible start. One of the rules is actually not to touch the ground. So if I touch the ground, I'm not actually submitting the score, so I won't hold myself accountable, but I am just trying to get a rough idea. And you'll notice I'm not using the rockets too heavily here. A good strategy would be to use a lot of them and keep your speed up. But we're just here to enjoy the view and get a rough score together for the rest of the hermits. I did wonder if it might have been a better idea to have made this trickier overall, to put in some more challenges here and there, but it would probably make the layout a little trickier to follow, and I don't feel like the base really lends itself to that. If we were to make it trickier, it would involve going down where the trees are, and that could get really problematic. So we've created a very scenic and fun route. And this isn't going to last the season, by the way. It's not going to be there in the world download. I'm going to give myself a pass on that one. We're just trying to get a rough time, because this is all temporary. Okay, and now we've got to land. Bam, I've landed, and whatever is on the screen, that was my time. Okay, so I modified the sign. We've kind of set a benchmark, and you know what? After doing all of that, I feel like it should have been a little bit longer, but that's fine because I tried to focus on quality here. You might have noticed that we didn't go all the way out to the area with the slime farm and the blast chamber, because that would have been a lot of this, just flying in a straight line, right? And one of the things that I really wanted the hermits to do is to fly through our drowned farm, but then it would have meant flying awkwardly out in this direction, going through, and having to try and convey to the hermits they've got to sort of spin back round and come back in again, and I felt that that wasn't particularly interesting. So the layout of this course was really well thought through. I tried to make it so that at any point there wasn't too many rings nearby that might confuse you, and it was always good to sort of head towards the next one. And that being said, this bit here was probably the least like that, because you've got to make a tight turn and then know that you're heading to this one and not that one there. But all in all, I'd say that's pretty fantastic, and it's too late to modify anything because I've notified all of the other hermits. Oh, and just in case you were wondering, yeah, I'm not taking a cut of any of the diamonds here. Like, I've made so many this season. Let's just let all of the other hermits share the winnings. So the more people play, the more there will be to win. To win! I was supposed to say to win. You know me, always making a word derp from time to time, right? And to see this episode out, let's just fly by this glorious garden project that we're doing over here. It's going to expand all the way around the castle, and we're probably going to be continuing that in the next episode. But unfortunately, this is where I'm wrapping up this one. I hope you've been entertained. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you for doing that, and I'll see you in the next one. So ciao for now. Bye-bye.